welcome to At America. With me, Hasna, one of the guests in America. And for those of you who are new here, have no idea what At America it is. And At America is the U.S. Embassy's American Center, and we provide a space for young Indonesians to learn more about the United States. As an important source of information, the media has been functioning in the heart of democratic society and good governance, transforming the way that media relate to both governments and audiences can be a bit challenging. There are we are Therefore, we are excited to welcome you all to join us on a compelling discussion on how media can shape a good governance on today's event that we'll be having, shaping a shaping good governance, social media as news. But before we begin, we have an opening remark which will be delivered from the U.S. Embassy Jakarta as the Deputy Cultural Attaché as well as the Director of Ad America. Please give a warm welcome to Pa Abraham Lee.
Selamat sore. Oh, okay. That's the extent of my Indonesian. Um, Good afternoon. My name is Abraham Lee. I'm the new Deputy Cultural Affairs Officer and Director of At America. This is my first event here at America. Thank you, thank you. So you are all here for my initial kind of unveiling performance today. So I wanted to share a story because I think today's topic is super interesting. I'm going to show my age a little bit, and some of you who may be similarly aged like myself. When I was growing up, every evening, like most families in America, we would turn on the television at 7 o'clock, and we would get our news. 30 minutes, right? We would get our news, and shocking, back then we didn't have the internet, right? We didn't have fancy computers. So every night at 7 o'clock, we would turn on the television and we would get our news, right? And there are lots of really famous American news anchors that probably none of you have heard of. Walter Cronkite, and Tom Brokaw, and Peter Jennings, Dan Rather, Diane Sawyer, Ed Bradley, all of these really famous people who would come into your home every night for 30 minutes to give you the news. And these people became like family, right? Because you trusted them. There was no way for me to check whether or not what they were saying was true, so you had to trust them. You had to trust that they were behind the scenes, checking and rechecking and make sure and that the facts were the facts and the truth was the truth. So when they gave you the news, you had a certain level of confidence that that person, right, had done all of the work to bring you the news that was true. Now, if I were to ask you to raise your hands, how many of you today turn on your television at 7 o'clock to get your news? None of you, right? All of us get our news from this little thing here that literally, right, fits in the back of your pocket. But the question I have to you is, how do you trust the news today? Right? How do you know who's giving you the news? How do you know that the news you're getting has been checked and rechecked and fact checked and is in fact true? So back in the day, I used to trust the news that was coming from these individuals who I trusted. So who has the responsibility now? They had the responsibility then, but who has the responsibility now to ensure that the news you're getting is true? That's in fact your job. You, as the consumer of news, now have a responsibility. Now, hopefully, there are websites and other things that are legitimate, but we get our news from social media, from all kinds of different feeds and hashtags. And so at the end of the day, we don't often know who's giving us or where they're getting the news. And today we're talking about good governance, and we're talking about the fact that news can affect the way we live and, in fact, affect the political institutions and social institutions of our culture. In the United States and Indonesia, we have Some big things happening next year, right? We're electing new presidents, or re-electing presidents. So what's going to happen? News is going to be super important. That's why today's discussion is so important. You're going to hear from some really cool people, experts in their field, who are going to talk about how do we consume news in a responsible, educated, informed way. And so I really look forward to today's discussion. I think it's going to be super informative for those of you here in person or those of you here online. Really take a look and listen. And I think you're going to learn a lot, and especially in today's day and age of disinformation, misinformation, and not knowing what's true or not. I think today's discussion is super important and super relevant. So I look forward to sticking around and hearing, and I look forward to the questions that are going to be answered. And I hope all of you walk away with a little bit more awareness and a little bit more ability to think critically about the news, where you get your news, and whether your news is in fact true or not. So looking forward to it, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pa Abraham, for the wonderful opening remark regarding on how combating misinformation is really important to us. And we are humbled to have you here on your very first event. Congratulations, Pa Abraham. And before we begin, we also have a little social media quiz for you. And the question for today is, which of the following is not a key role of media in promoting good governance? Is it A, observer, B, civic forum, C, agenda setter, or D, face-to-face participation? You may type in your answer at any time during the session on our social media platforms. The lucky one who can guess the answer correctly will get a live shout out from us by the end of this event. Don't forget to do that because we really like to get everyone actively involved in this event. Other than that, don't forget to share your best moment at America and take us on our social media platforms. And now, to begin our session, allow me to invite our moderator for today's session. She is an independent journalist, a professional MC, and also a podcaster. Puri Anindita, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Hasna. Hello, hello, everyone. Wow, look at us here. It's the weekend, and yet we're all here talking about good governance. Big round of applause for all of us here today and you joining us online. My name is Puri Anindita. You can call me Puri. Happy to be here. Thank you so much at America for giving us such a wonderful space to have this discussion. And also, I would like to welcome Mas Abraham because he insists, please don't call me Pa. So yes, welcome to Indonesia. Baru saja 2 minggu bertugas di Indonesia, tepatnya di Jakarta. So welcome. I hope you enjoy our discussion. And also, we're only a few days away to July 4th, 4th of July. So that's exciting. Happy birthday, America, celebrating 247th. Wow, yeah. The age of democracy in the United States. So happy birthday. And I hope you don't mind me switching back and forth in English, speaking in English and Bahasa Indonesia, because we would like to cater everyone, make sure everyone feels included. But I promise I'll recap in English, yeah? But what's exciting, following up to what Mas Abraham has said, misinformation, social media as news. What's interesting is Indonesia will have our general election next year, 2024, on Valentine's Day, ya. Kita akan, ya, jadi kita hari kasih sayang sama Indonesia, memilih tidak hanya presiden dan wakil presiden, tapi tahu nggak kita akan milih berapa profil? Ayo, siapa yang menjawab di atas 3? Blur. Tidak tahu gitu, tapi nggak apa-apa. Jadi sebenarnya kita akan memilih 5 profil ya. Presiden, wakil presiden itu satu set, begitu ya. DPR, DPD, DPRD provinsi, dan DPRD kabupaten kota. Nah, pertanyaanku adalah how are we feeling? Menuju 2024 apa yang dirasa? A lot of anxiety, cemas, overflowing with information, would like to engage but not sure how or what to do, or heated argument already started and on social media. This is my favorite meme, by the way. I don't know if you agree. Yeah, would you agree? Ya, udah mulai panas belum kira-kira ya? Belum lagi kalau perdebatannya tidak hanya di sosial media tapi di WhatsApp grup keluarga. Ya, agak sungkan ya kalau mau ngobrol sama yang dituakan. Tapi gini, sebelum kita mulai diskusi, kita punya dua speaker luar biasa yang menurut saya sangat mendobrak skena gimana kita mengkonsumsi informasi gitu ya. Kita boleh main game dulu. Let's play a quick game through Kahoots. We have 5 questions. Boleh ditampilkan teman-teman. Boleh ya, tolong di-scan cepat. Nanti saya akan bantu bacakan juga. Teman-teman yang baru login, terima kasih sudah gabung. Silahkan scan Kahoot-nya atau menggunakan PIN tadi 5856644. Ada 5 pertanyaan, ini pertanyaan ini akan mempertanyakan bagaimana kita menganggap social media sebenarnya. Ready? Kita mulai dengan yang ada dulu. Alright. Mas Abraham is in. I saw your name. Yep. We have Citra, Dani, Amel. Saya jadi penasaran. Kira-kira bagaimana kita sebenarnya memperlakukan social media? Oke, shall we start? Let's go. Oke. Pertanyaan pertama. Ya, sesuai topik kita hari ini, Shaping Good Governance, Social Media as News. Okay, what role does social media play in providing reliable and accurate information? Is it A, spreading misinformation, or B, limiting access to diverse perspectives, or C, promoting biased narratives, or D, facilitating open discussions and fact-checking? Jadi kata kuncinya adalah bagaimana justru social media berpengaruh pada informasi yang akurat. Tapi ini rata-rata benar. Coba kita lihat. Biasanya sudah ada klasemen nih. Siapa yang ada di top 3? Siapa nih yang namanya Dani? Dani. Kamu kasih tahu Dani, Ian dan Wagyu. Oke. On to the next, boleh ya? Kita ke berikutnya. Kita mencari yang tidak hanya benar tapi juga cepat. How does misinformation on social media impact the democratic process? Bagaimana social media punya pengaruh atau impact ke proses demokrasi kita? Apakah A, encouraging informed decision making, undermining public trust and distorting public opinion, strengthening transparency and accountability, atau D, facilitating constructive dialogue among diverse groups? Ini agak kepecah ya, kalau nggak yang B, yang D. Tapi yang benar adalah yang B, undermining public trust and distorting public opinion. Sudah makin seru. Berikutnya, coba kita lihat klasemennya berubah nggak nih? Berubah langsung loh. Kayaknya aku tahu nih yang namanya Wagyu siapa. Saya melihat ada beberapa orang yang kayaknya suka steak di sini. Yes, on to the next. Ya, kita udah mau masuk malam minggu nih, udah mau makan enak ya. What strategies can the general public do to critically evaluate and filter news source on social media? Sudah mulai deg-degan ini. Trusting information shared by friends and family, or relying solely on mainstream media outlets, or verifying information, or believing everything they see on social media platforms. Yang D tuh kayak meme yang ini loh, if it's on the internet, it's true, gitu. Enggak ya? Ini pinter-pinter ini. Jawabannya yang C. Oke, mari kita lihat klasemennya apakah masih dipegang oleh Wagyu? Masih loh, Wagyu, Rachel, Dani ini kayaknya top 3 terus nih. Oke, yang lain jangan mau kalah. Yang cepat dan juga benar. Berikutnya, 2 lagi ya. What is the impact of social media campaigns that promote social causes and political change? Apakah no impact on society or policy outcomes? Enhancing awareness, mobilization, public discourse, reinforcement of existing power structures, or division and polarization among communities? Speaking about polarization, I don't think it's just Indonesia. I think the US, probably Mas Abraham can speak later. Trump period 2019 is very heated. Ya, oke, ini benar, mayoritas benar jawabannya yang B. Kita lihat Mas Wagyu, Rachel, Dani tadi ya, masih memegang tampuk Yes, saya tahu ini kayaknya yang ini nih yang namanya Wagyu nih. Oke, berikutnya. Last question. Bertahan ya, jaga konsentrasinya ya. Why is it essential to promote critical thinking and media literacy among youth using social media? To empower them as informed and responsible digital citizen, or to encourage blind acceptance of information, to limit their exposure to differing viewpoints, or to discourage their participation in online discussion and debate. Oh, enggak dong. Kayaknya mayoritas juga benar. Boleh dong tepuk tangannya buat kita semua? Ya. Oke, let's see who win this game. Siapa top 3-nya? I'm rooting for Mas Wagyu. I hope. I think it's Mas Wagyu. I don't know. Wagyu. Woo! And then number 2, who's Dani is now number 2 dan Wagyu nomor 3. Dani nomor Rachel. Woo! Thank you for playing. And thank you so much for participating again. So here's the big question. Jadi kita tadi udah bahas sedikit tentang social media sebagai informasi, kemudian takut ada misinformasi, Indonesia akan pemilu 2024. Satu fun fact yang perlu kita highlight adalah 60% of the voters is coming from the 17 up to 39 years old demographic. Jadi kalau dalam definisi Indonesia ya, orang muda itu kategorinya 17 sampai 39. With the attention span of 5 minutes, how can we engage millennials and Gen Z in a socio-political issues? Bukan saya yang akan jawab. Nanti speaker kita yang pertama ini akan cerita banyak. Saya udah nggak sabar mau dengar insights-nya dia. CEO of a newsletter company Catch Me Up, who also serves as a special staff of the House Representatives of Indonesia. Put your hands together for Haifa Inaya. Woo!
Just start now. All right. So hi everybody. So hi everybody. Thank you so much for coming. As the MC already mentioned, so my name is Haifa. I will explain you a little bit about what I'm doing in media, especially. So all right. So some of you probably already heard of Catch Me Up. This is a media newsletter startup that I just funded in 2019. So it's the first newsletter-based news media in Indonesia, and so I'm gonna explain a little bit about Catch Me Up, but by the way of how we write our email. So it has like a Q&A flow and like very witty, very cute. So maybe I will just start. So sometimes when we write our news, when we want to explain something, we will go with so everybody meet something something. So here I will like meet Catch Me Up. And so you're probably gonna ask like, who are you, right? Like when so this is actually also the kind of sentences I use when I'm doing my pitching to my investors. So you guys also get the idea. Um, so Catch Me Up is a newsletter company with a mission to make it easier for people to get informed. So the keyword here is easier because you know when we talk about media in Indonesia, it's very easy to like get all the information. It's very easy. Like you just have to check your phone or on like I believe everyone has access to internet and everything. But easier is something different, and this is what I'm gonna explain more. So let's say there's a girl over there, probably like a lot of us embodies her. Basically, that's Catch Me Up audience are mostly like 80% of our audience, our subscribers are women. So her name is Farah. Farah is a 21 years old woman living in Jakarta. So she's a digital native, and she's just graduated from a reputable university and is now having her first job as a consultant. So good job, good career, probably good background, economic background, things like that. And one day, in her on the way to work, so Farah saw a huge demonstration in front of DPR. You know, there's always demonstration in front of DPR, right? And people always cross by. So like sometimes you're curious, oh, what happened? Like ada apaan sih kok tiba-tiba ada demo, right? A lot of people sometimes have that kind of situation, and then so yeah, so she was like the first thing that comes into her mind was what happened? Like why is there a lot of students in front of the of DPR or in front of misalnya the presidential palace, things like that. And then um, so she was trying to find out why. So she checked on her phone, but the moment she opens the website, for example, if he opens like one very famous news portal in Indonesia, there will always come up with some pop-ups or ads. Or when she's reading one article, suddenly she has to click next and next and next, and suddenly like 5 6 minutes wasted, and she doesn't get any idea of what happened because of that so much distraction. um so yeah, and then suddenly she's arrived at her office, get on with her day, and that's it. Like she doesn't get the information, and she just forget about it, which is um probably the case for most of us young busy millennials in Jakarta. um okay, so that's basically like she's already in the office, or she's already has a meeting, or her boyfriend texts, so she just got distracted. Um, so that's how I come up with catch me up idea. So basically, what we are doing is to eliminate all of those like ads and distractions, and just focusing on the news. So because the idea is all of us are busy millennials, right? Some people work more than one job, like I work 2 3 jobs sometimes. But and we also have very little time attention span. Like Puti mentioned before, we only have 5 minutes. So how can we get the whole idea in just 5 minutes? So it's very challenging. But unlike Farah, or unlike other people's working in, I don't know, maybe banking, consulting, doctor, they have to get on with their day and their real job. So they don't have time to catch up. But for us, like I'm a journalist. I've been a journalist all my life since I graduated from my undergrad. So I get paid to read news, or to catch up. Basically, I get paid to do that. So I can spend as much time as I want to read news. But not all of millennials has that kind of luxury. Um, so and there in Jakarta alone, there are more than 3 millions of working millennials. I believe there's more, but that's the number. So they're busy, then they don't have as much time as me, as mine, to be invested on browsing, clicking, closing the ads in order to get their information they needed. So this group needs an easier way to get their information, something direct, something on point, something just, hey, just explain me something, and you will just, okay, so this is what happened. That's it. They don't need clicks. They don't need to pop up ads. They don't need like clickbait articles, things like that. And so this is how I find out the problem on how we're reading news. Sometimes when we are like trying to concentrate, right? Like for example, if you open one website and then um, you're just reading something, let's say what is currently okay, like the election. There's so many drama around the election. I believe everybody is sometimes following, probably not, but there's just so many drama about like the presidential candidate or the DPR candidate, and they quickly shifted. They change a lot. So sometimes you want to read everything, but then along the way there's just a full of disruption. So to even just to get the understanding, it feels like a chore because you need to do a lot of work, like open the website, find out or put the keyword, find out the right person, or you need to do your own research. So it's just too much work to do, and sometimes it's also confusing because there are more than 2,700 registered news portal in Indonesia. You don't even know where to start. Sometimes even one news portal, because I work with media a lot. Sometimes they have different headlines for the same quote. Like for example, if one's candidate say the same thing, the journalists they are there, all of them are there, but when they write it on an article, it will come out differently. It's really depend on the angles, depend on like do they really pay to attention to it or not. Like it can really get down to that because I think in Indonesia, like most medias are really just focusing on what their journalists on the ground reporting inside. So instead of like probably, I believe they do recheck, but probably not for all the news media. And it's also time consuming. Um, Again, when only based on digital media, there's just too many time that we need to invest. We don't have that much time. So again, the attention span is very short. So we need a solution for all of these problems. So this is how this is what I came up with. So a daily catch up is a newsletter-based media service. If some of you already subscribe, this is what's gonna look like. I'm also a subscriber, so that's how my inbox looks like. So we send the email every morning from Monday through Friday, um, containing all the important headlines that our audience needs to know from the day before. So we write everything, basically international news, national news, economy, uh, sometimes gossips, but it's not really often. So yeah, right now we are having more than 80K subscribers with 40 to 45% open rate. And yeah, as you can see here, because we send the email at 6 p.m., we want to make sure that the news doesn't feel heavy or doesn't feel like complicated to for our audience to begin their day with. So that's why it's always started with some song lyrics as a subject, and of course Taylor Swift has to be there because if you subscribe, you probably already know that I'm a huge Swiftie. So like 99% of the time, our subject is always from her song lyrics. So um, yeah, so this is why we are different. Again, we're comprehensive. We really just like we collect schemes. So uh, instead of just like collecting the news, we actually like rewrite everything. We make sure that the 5W1H is in there. Um, so to make sure that our audience get the idea in just one email. Also, we are distraction free, as we mentioned before. We have no pop-ups, no clicks, no ads. Like it's just direct news in just one email. And also, like I think the third point is one of the main strength that most of our audience love. So as a millennial myself, I know the way my generation talks. So like if you subscribe to Catch Me Up, you probably also notice that we talk interchangeably in Indonesian, sometimes in English. We use a lot of English words, but we mix it with Indonesian. So a lot of people told us like, oh, this is a Jaksel style, things like that. So I try to make it more diverse. I hired teams now from Surabaya and from Kalimantan to make it less Jaksel, but yeah, that's what we do. We're conversational, witty, up to date, smart, and our internal survey found that only 1% of our subscribers that unsubscribe within their first year. So on their first year, most people, 99%, they don't unsubscribe. So it looks like they really like our content. And also, we are part of our audience daily routine because we are getting in their inbox at 6 a.m. When they wake up in the morning, they check their emails, and our content will be there. This is our social media presence. Can't have more time. Okay, so this is testimonials that we get. I will just go straight to it. So this is the last slide. So how did I get the idea? I think so. This is a little bit about me. So my name is Haifa. I was a journalist for 5 years. Like as I mentioned before, since I graduated, I become a journalist, mostly covering on politics and election. And then after the 2014 elections, I decided, okay, like the main thing has passed. It's time for me to elevate. So I applied to Fulbright scholarship and I get in. I did my master's at University of Massachusetts Boston. So this is how I actually get the idea for Catch Me Up. So when I was studying in Boston, I've inspired by mainly two things. The first is how rich and creative the media industry in the U.S. Because when I was there, it was during the 2016 election. So you can imagine it was a very divisive election because it's first term for Trump and also like Hillary Clinton. So the way the media in there try to like inform their audience is very creative, very innovative. They have different ways of making sure that all the informations are being delivered to their audience. And if we like see it, because I think in the US they have more diverse issues for different kind of race or people. So like, I mean, different people care about different issues basically. So they're very creative on delivering that. And also like the secondly is how entrepreneurial the young people in the US is because studying in Boston, they have all the best schools in the world. Like they are Harvard, MIT, and then I went to UMass Boston, but they have like free access basically to like event that they have, and um, I like to join them, and that's how I got like, oh, they have this innovation lab and like different competitions for young entrepreneurs to go. So like when we talk about entrepreneurship in the US or startup in the US, we normally think about San Francisco or New York, but I think actually like Boston is also like very robust for that. It probably is just um, underrated aja. So yeah, when I since I graduated, so when I come back to Indonesia, I decided like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I wanna start a business in media, and also like by starting Catch Me Up, I want to represent the female perspective in journalism through our editorial content. Because if we talk about female journalism in Indonesia, it's still very domesticated. Like mostly people, like when we talk about female and media, they're mostly just makeup or like food recipe or how to dress up for summer, things like that. And there's audiences that smart young woman that wants to know more than that, beyond that. They want to know about politics, economy, and so that's what we do. All right, thank you so much.
Woohoo!
Hope you get
Thank you so much, Haifa. Um, would you feel comfortable if you're sitting on the middle? Uh, this is not the end of the presentation. Kalau boleh kasih pujian dulu ya sama Haifa. I'm actually a big fan of Catch Me Up. Very conversational, yes. It feels like it's your best friend telling you what's going on in the world, why it's important, and why it's actually affecting us. That's how I feel. Nah, sekarang kalau kita lihat 3 tahun ke belakang, the last 3 years, especially because of the pandemic, I think 70% of Indonesian consume news from social media. Jadi menjadikan sumber informasi utamanya justru dari sosial media. Apakah ini hal baik, hal buruk? Bisa jadi karena terkoneksi mudah, tapi juga gampang dapat hoax, misinformasi. Pertanyaan berikutnya adalah seberapa parah memang level misinformasi di Indonesia dan gimana nih yang mau jadi voters 2024 kita juga lebih awas, lebih terinformasi, lebih cerdas memilih siapa calon pemimpin kita. Nah, pembicara berikutnya ini akan cerita jauh lebih banyak lagi. Co-founder of What Is Up Indonesia and co-initiator of Bijak Memilih. Please give it up for Abigail Liburia. Can I join you over here? Let's just, okay. I'm good here. The floor is yours.
Okay. The clicker.
Oh yeah.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Well, hello everyone. Kayak yang udah dijelasin tadi, my name is Abigail, co-founder of What Is Up Indonesia. What is Up Indonesia? WIUI, WIWI. Yeah. So if the next time when I say WIWI, that's what I'm referring to, not something else. Okay. So, Mbak Purit earlier mentioned about this meme, and coincidentally, that is the front cover of my presentation today. Yeah? We communicated beforehand, maybe. Yeah, so shaping good governance, social media as news. You know, if it's on the internet, it must be true by Albert Einstein. So talking about consuming news from social media, we cannot talk about that without talking about misinformation. And I think we all here know that, oh, misinformation in Indonesia is bad, ya. Hoax di Indonesia tuh parah banget, segala gitu udah tahu. Tapi how bad is it? Now, before we dive into this, a little bit about WiWi. WiWi is an independent media where I summarize basically Indonesian social political issues and translate it to English and memes. So we use a lot of memes, we use a lot of English, a lot of pop culture jokes to make Indonesian social politics more accessible to internationally raised Indonesia. Because a lot of Indonesian youth actually grew up internationally and it's very hard for them to follow the Indonesian news. yang banyak jargonnya, singkatan-singkatannya, baca headline aja nggak ngerti gitu ya. Jadi we translated in Wiwi. So keep in mind that Wiwi's audience are usually English educated. So usually they are pretty well educated. They usually go to university abroad. Basically everyone can speak English. So speaking of misinformation, how bad is it? Well, so this is how a Wiwi post usually look like. We usually tell about real news, but during April Fools, we conducted an experiment. We created this post that is obviously a lie. So as you can see, new ministry for Pawang and Perdukunan Affairs, right? And here we're like, oh yeah, the government announced 2 billion rupiah investment for Polri for Satgas Babi Ngepet to help KPK trace magical money or something. You know, like very, very ridiculous news. International support. The Japanese government literally sends an anime character to Indonesia, but his visa was not approved. And then the Korean government announced visa-free travel for Indonesian citizens to Kwangya, which is a fictitious place, part of a lore of a K-pop group. So this is obviously a lie, right? And you can't really see it, but below the What is Up Indonesia, I put as writing, this is obviously fake news. We even put this in the caption, right? Just kidding. Prank warning. This is obviously not real, a joke, made up parody. So if they just read the caption, they would know that this is a joke, right? So clearly nobody will believe, right? So the post reached a high level of engagement. I think we garnered almost like 1,000 comments. And a lot of them were like, you know what? You almost got me in the first half of the post. I was reading until the last slide, until that troll face come up. I believed it 100%. I was like, guys, you read through the Japanese government sending us a 2D drawing anime character. There's a LPDP scholarship for Hogwarts. And you're like, yeah, that sounds legit, you know? And kok gue percaya sih sebelum lihat caption. Jeez. And then somebody was like, what did I just read? This gotta be a joke. This is a joke, right? And then I took it seriously, thinking this should have worked under Kementerian Agama, because Kementerian Perdukunan, right? And then, yeah, I knew, but if y'all didn't mention that it was a joke, I would actually believe it. And then the craziest part is, a lot of the comments says that what threw them off was this fake regulation I created, and I used Comic Sans to write the pasal, right? So they read through the Babi Ngepet, the Gojo Satoru anime, the Kwangya K-pop, LPDP scholarship to Hogwarts, and they're like, that sounds very legit. And then they saw Comic Sans, and they're like, wait a minute. So this is like a very, very concerning observation, right? And remember, these are highly educated kids, can speak English. Yeah. And then, guess what? Next year, we did it again. Surely this time nobody believes, right? April Fools, we said, oh, we is leaving Indonesia. We're moving to Singapore. So we're now, what is up is Singapore. You can see the Singlish written there. And then one of our team fake IG story. And yeah, yet again, guys. And this is a WhatsApp message from my dad. He was like, Abby, you're moving to Singapore? What happened? I'm like, and then somebody tweeted, kalau benar Abigail beserta Wiwi pindah ke Singapura, kehilangan media Wibu. I don't know why they called us media Wibu. Baru kali ini berharap April mau beneran. Even though in the caption, it was clearly we say as a joke. So that's very concerning. And then now we know that for the past 3 years, more than 72% of Indonesians use social media as their primary source of news. Wonderful. And then, Indonesia has over 204 million internet users, according to one statistic. Online penetration around 70%, that's in 2021. I'm sure now there's more. And yet, Indonesia is ranked 44th out of 63 countries in terms of digital skills. Another says that our digital literacy is actually the worst in ASEAN. So yeah, high internet penetration, low digital literacy, social media as primary source of news. What could possibly go wrong? And we like to say, oh, it's the boomers, the old people who like doesn't understand how to sort through hoaxes. But you know what? The young people are not that different. I really like this TikTok. She was like, me realizing that I believe everything I see in TikTok, like my mom believes everything she sees on Facebook. That is so true. So yeah, fake. According to the British Council Next Generation report, fake news is the highest ranking issues for Indonesian youth. So they asked Indonesian youth all over Indonesia, what is the number one concerning thing when dealing with the internet? And they say fake news. They feel like the education here doesn't equip them to investigate fake news. And that is above their concern for fraud, hacker, and cyberbullying. And this is very concerning too, that a survey by LIPI and ISEAS in 2019 says that in Indonesia, higher education and better access to information doesn't guarantee assurance against misinformation. That means, according to the survey, Indonesian, that is, for example, a PhD or master's graduate, is just as likely to be misinformed as a middle school graduate here in Indonesia. That's very concerning, right? And so why? Why is it concerning? I keep on reading this, very concerning, but why? Why is it concerning? And I really like this quote. We realize that Indonesia is a democracy, and democracy hinges on informed voters. And especially we're entering the political year, udah mau 2024, bakal harus nyoblos, right? And in this David Letterman show, he asked Obama, what is the number one threat for America's democracy? And I think this applies to Indonesia too. And he says, one of the biggest challenges that we have to our democracy is the degree to which we don't share a common baseline of facts. So how can we operate? How can we vote based on facts? How can we be informed if we can't tell the difference between misinformation and what's real? If we can't really filter out our information, our democracy hinges on that, right? Misinformation erodes trust in institution, government, and media organization. Very hard for a country to move forward if everyone distrusts each other. False and exaggerated narrative, usually misinformation, are crafted to untuk apa ya, giring opini, yeah, have fueled anger, fear, hostility, leading to further polarization. And so, what can we do? So, in What is Up Indonesia, or WIWI, we teach our followers what I call healthy skepticism. So, if you open our Instagram, in our bio, in every single post that we post, we have that disclaimer, right? We're not a news site. Please don't depend on us for your sole news. This is a stepping stone. We are prone to bias and error. Verify us. If you see something that's wrong, let us know. And we always put all of our sources in our caption. So we tell our audience, don't trust us. Please fact check us, right? Because I think for a lot of us, our default setting is I'm gonna believe until it is proven otherwise. But I think the correct way to consume information on social media is do not distrust until proven that it is credible. So I think that's how we should consume news on social media. And then how else can we not fall for misinformation? Unfortunately, there's no hack for it, there's no shortcut. You'll need to learn and read, okay? That's the only way. There's no magic 5 steps to avoid misinformation. No, there's none. So, especially during the upcoming 2024 election, that's why What is Up Indonesia has teamed up with Think Policy to create this initiative called Bijak Memilih. That is a tech-enabled independent movement where we create a one-stop website that compiles all of the necessary information for voters to create an informed vote in 2024. So our phase 1 is out. If you go to bijakmemilih.id or go to our website, so this is phase 1. Our phase 1 is isu or issue. So we started listing 15 issues that are very crucial in Indonesia and that young people care about. And if you click on each one of them, there'll be a very brief explanation. And on top of that, there'll be a track record on how party have voted on that issue. So for example, in revisi UU KPK 2019, we can see siapa yang setuju secara penuh. Setuju dengan catatan. Catatannya apa? Belum berpendapat and other stances. And later, actually, for phase two, that's gonna launch end of July, we're gonna elaborate more on the political parties. So we're gonna delve more into their track record, their ideology, their famous figures, and stuff like that. So coming soon. And then third phase that will launch later, maybe around October, is gonna be about candidates. So seems like social media is scary, huh? But but actually, and this is I want to say that I don't think social media is all bad because actually social media provided the diversity for political participation. And before I delve into what I mean by that, I want to say that a lot of the things about media that I learned, I actually learned from Biola University. I graduated, I went to university in LA, and I took media management there. And in Los Angeles, America, there's the community is so diverse. So I have a lot of diverse friends. So I'm friends with there's Alex, my friend, and then he's Korean, and then we have friends from Malaysia, from Mexico, from Brazil, stuff like that. And there, I learned about two things, right? The value of critical thinking and diversity. The first one, critical thinking. That's what we've been talking about in social media. It's needed. We need to have critical thinking to be able to sort through information, digital literacy. But also on the flip side, if we can get past that critical thinking and we can navigate in social media, when you think about it, social media makes political participation now more inclusive. Back then, before social media, if you want to participate in politics, you need to demo depan DPR, right? Turun ke jalan, you need to, and it's very masculine. I don't think I will ever be politically active. But with the presence of social media, I get to create Bijak Memilih and What is Up Indonesia and We. And so it's more towards how do we use it and how do we be vigilant enough to do it. And yeah, don't be like the Incredible Hulk. Be the credible Hulk who always cites his sources. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Big round of applause to Abby. Thank you so much. I would say that you are such a meme expert. I love how you
Part of the job.
yeah, communicates with meme. So, ladies and gents, guys, we only have for about 40 minutes. So, I'm not going to dominate the discussion. Please jot down your question now if you're logging in, if you're watching us online. Lainnya silakan nanti angkat tangan dan saya akan kasih kesempatan untuk bertanya langsung sama dua speaker kita. But I would like to start from the very beginning, a little throwback to Haifa and Abi. When did you start to care about social political issue? And follow-up question, when was your first election? Ooh. Haifa, would you like to go first?
Okay, then you're gonna like first I'm gonna answer that, and second you're gonna guess my age. I guess.
Silently.
Yeah. Okay, so when did I start
To care,
caring?
yeah.
I think since the first time I can remember. Like my dad always made me watch news every
Okay.
day, reading the newspaper, like very traditional. Dad, like he always wants me to read like newspaper every day. Watch the TV. When I watch the TV, he always switch to the news channel. So
Okay.
I think it's since I was a kid, I just kind of really growing up with reading news and being exposed to different kind of informations like but I think maybe I started to like leaning more towards political news when I did my undergrad
Okay.
because I did my undergrad in IR also in law. So I do both. Um, and yeah, my first election. Oh, is it the presidential election or the
Oh,
or just the
president.
first
Yeah,
election?
yeah. Anything.
Mm. Okay, I think it's the I can't remember. I think it's the West Java election for the governor.
Ah,
It was way back, but I was still in high school. I think it's my first election, and I go to school in a pesantren, if you know, like it's a very traditional Islamic school. So like they're very fixated already on whose candidate they should vote for.
mhm.
So like you can imagine, like let's say like from out of 200 votes in
Okay.
one apa namanya TPS.
Mhm. In one booth,
Yeah,
basically.
in one
Yeah.
booth, 199 is vote for one candidate. That's just
That is
how
more inclined or look very religious.
no,
No?
the kiai is just directly says like you gotta vote for this person.
Oh, wow. Do you remember
So-
what year was that? Oh, care to say? No, it's a secret.
I can't, but because I feel like I think the winning guy is still somewhere out there in politics, so probably no.
So he's the winning guy, yeah. That person.
No,
that
he
is
doesn't.
what-
He doesn't end up winning.
Oh, he doesn't
But
end up
yeah,
winning.
but come from one of the like biggest party that kind of
Oh.
give a lot of money to like kind of that school.
Okay.
So yeah, my first exposed to election is not really good in that sense. Like
Mhm.
they don't really make you vote because you care about issues or you care about um like like education or politics or like economy. Like they make you vote for one person because like their figure. Like oh, this is leaning toward Islamic issues, things like that.
I
So,
see. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, your turn, Abby. When did you start to care and when was your first election?
Right. I think there's no like one event that maybe like, oh, I care about politics. It's like a very gradual thing. But I guess it's the gradual realization of that. Again, I live in Indonesia, Indonesia democracy, and politics actually uh, uh, infiltrates and touches every single sphere of my life. So like, can Taylor Swift have a concert in Indonesia, right? That's politics. How expensive will my favorite food be? That's politics. Can the government have any say in my family affair? Almost, right? RUU KK, that's politics. And so I realized that, oh, politics is actually not that abstract, far away thing, but it's very close. And that we are in a democracy. That means, to a certain extent, we have a voice and we get to participate in negotiating the rule of the game that we get to play. And so it's very, very unwise if we don't understand about politics and are not politically literate. And then I saw that my friends who are usually like I'm the audience of WiWi, who are usually educated internationally, who are usually more socioeconomically more privileged and therefore get to access those education. Ironically, they're the most ignorant and oblivious. And that is actually because of, again, like I said, the language barrier that is ironically there. And I realized this because the 2019 Reformasi di Korupsi
Right.
demonstration happened very near with Black Lives Matter George Floyd. And all of my friends were speaking out about Black Lives Matter, which is not bad. But on the one hand, they have no idea what's happening in their own country, politically and socially.
Yeah.
And so the care about political, social issue is there, but they just care about the one in the US, not in Indonesia. Why? And that's what started the What is Up Indonesia experiment, basically.
Okay. So when was your first election?
Right. I can't remember, but I do remember the first election that I cared about,
Okay.
and that was the first Jokowi versus Prabowo.
The very heated one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Following up to your statement, saya akan switch ke bahasa Indonesia ya. Jadi tadi kan Abi cerita 2019 mahasiswa turun ke jalan sehingga ini harusnya mematahkan asumsi biasanya generasi yang lebih tua menganggap yang lebih muda apatis. Karena tidak, 2019 mahasiswa turun ke jalan, #reformasi di korupsi, bukti ada kepedulian sebenarnya isunya waktu itu RUU KPK Bill, RKUHP, Rancangan Kitab Undang-Undang Hukum Pidana or Criminal Code Bill, Sexual Violence Bill I think, ya, RUU PKS, tapi ada beberapa yang sudah disahkan begitu kan ya.
Sekarang semua
Iya,
udah sih.
ketiganya bahkan. We'll talk about this. Tapi ada nggak sih rancangan undang-undang yang, ini dari Abi dulu, nanti aku akan gantian ke Haifa. Karena kita lagi bicara bagaimana sebenarnya kita yang voters tidak hanya memilih atau berakhir prosesnya memilih pemimpin, tapi punya pengaruh ke kebijakan. Nah itu kan, jadi pertanyaanku adalah, ada nggak rancangan undang-undang yang mungkin sekilas terlihat baik-baik saja, tapi kalau kita lihat pasal atau articles, detailnya is actually conflicting, kontras gitu dengan niat utamanya. Adakah?
Wow. Pasti ada. Soalnya gini, ini juga another thing ya yang aku kurang setuju di narasi-narasi kebanyakan media, yaitu suka dinarasiin bahwa sebuah RUU itu tuh either good or bad.
Oke.
RUU ini baik, RUU ini jelek gitu.
Hmm.
Padahal kan nggak gitu. Di setiap RUU ada yang bagus, ada yang kurang bagus. Setiap RUU kan sebenarnya tebel gitu ya.
Ya.
Ada pasal-pasal yang bagus, dan pasal-pasal yang jelek tuh biasanya bukannya karena jahat gitu ya, tapi mungkin wordingnya masih rada karet atau
Oke.
mungkin intentionnya apa. Jadi sebenarnya tuh kalau ditanya ada nggak, pasti ada, dan semua RUU itu sebenarnya nggak ada yang 100% bagus sama jelek gitu. Semua RUU itu makanya ada proses harmonisasi apa segala kan, itu karena emang harus, ya itu produk hukum yang sangat complicated sebenarnya. Jadinya gitu sih, kita harus lebih ngelihat RUU in a more nuanced way ya kayaknya.
Oke. Nah ini gantian ke Haifa because she also work for one of our House of Representatives. Well, one of the person within the House of Representatives. My question remains, how can we engage and influence the bill making process? Jadi aku recap sedikit ya. Jadi gimana caranya yang pas untuk kita yang muda ini bisa punya pengaruh dalam rancangan undang-undang. Baiknya gimana? Apalagi kamu juga terlibat sehari-harinya gitu. Apa yang efektif?
Okay. Well, that's a very interesting question. There's actually a lot of ways yang kita bisa lakukan untuk influence bill making process, especially in DPR. Tapi kayaknya sebelum masuk ke situ, we need to realize dulu bahwa sebenarnya yang bikin undang-undang bukan cuma DPR tapi juga pemerintah.
Right.
So it's two ways. So I kind of find it apa ya? Mungkin apa namanya ketika misalnya demo di depan DPR, sebenarnya kadang pas kita ngobrol ke DPR kayak enggak, sebenarnya undang-undangnya udah di pemerintah kayak gitu, meaning di kementerian. So kadang ya what's the point gitu. Jadi kayak penting juga buat kita untuk ketika kita misalnya mau mengkritisi undang-undang itu kita tahu dulu posisinya di mana dan apa sih yang mau kita kritisi kayak gitu. So back to that question ya, we need to educate ourselves. Sebenarnya nggak ada yang lain. Jadi kayak kita mungkin memiliki pemahaman yang lebih banyak terhadap lawmaking proses di Indonesia, dan setelah itu misalnya emang kita misalnya undang-undangnya lagi di DPR, then we know misalnya komisi berapa. Let's say misalnya salah satu yang bermasalah itu KUHP ya, atau misalnya omnibus law. There's a lot of problem on those two bills gitu kan, from every perspective. Nah kita udah tahu kayak KUHP itu di mana, di komisi 3. Oke, komisi 3 itu mainly siapa yang ada di sana dan lain-lain kayak gitu. Jadi maybe apa namanya, dengan kita tahu posisinya di mana, kita jadi lebih bisa critical atau kita jadi lebih bisa targeted gitu loh. Kayak sering banget misalnya orang demo ke DPR terus DPR lagi reses, meaning nggak ada siapa-siapa di DPR. Things like that, kayak gitu. Jadi movementnya ya kelihatan sih di media muncul gitu, tapi it gives very very little effect buat orang-orang yang emang ada di DPR. But if the question adalah mereka listen apa enggak, they actually listen, they actually read what you post, mereka baca komen-komen kita di sosial media dan lain-lain. Jadi kayak apa namanya, just be involved, get educated aja, dan kayak apa namanya, kalau emang concern terhadap satu isu ya nggak apa-apa gitu, voice your opinion or like comment on their social media, itu mereka baca kok biasanya.
Sangat menenangkan karena saya pikir mungkin demo karena udah keseringan demo, apa jangan-jangan ini nggak efektif ya, tapi enggak, ternyata setidaknya masih didengar. Nah tadi ngomongin isu yang penting, ini untuk dua-duanya. Top 3 issues matters to Gen Z and millennials. Apa 3 teratas isu yang menjadi concernnya milenial dan Gen Z? Siapa dulu? Abi dulu.
Oke. Oh ini pakai data aja lah ya,
Iya,
aku quote
boleh.
datanya. Saya kan nggak bisa pendapat aku gitu. So top 3 issues. So I'll take it from the Next Generation report by the British Council. So they recently released that report. They interviewed youth all over Indonesia from different province, and they found that the top 3 issues are education. The first one itu yang by far the most important issue for young people. The second one is employment.
Oke.
So there's
Oh,
not
yeah.
enough quality or quality employment, or if the employment is not equally distributed. And then the third is actually health. So accessible
Oh.
healthcare, mental health. So young people actually really, really care about that.
Okay. Haifa, from probably your subscribers
Yeah.
or yeah.
Yeah, I will also cite from my subscribers insights, which we do survey every 6 months. So every 6 months, we'll send out emails to our subscribers to find out what issues that they cared most. And we also have subscribers in all of the provinces in Indonesia, so we kind of draw
Awesome.
at least like we get the idea a little bit.
Yeah.
So first is environment.
Environment,
Yeah.
climate
So
crisis, I
climate
think.
crisis,
Yeah.
climate change. Whenever we write news about it, we will always get a huge traction.
Mhm.
The second one, sama kayak tadi kata Abi, employment.
Okay.
Karena turns out a lot of young people in Indonesia itu gajinya kecil atau educationnya, atau mereka punya education yang bikin gaji mereka kecil. Tapi
Yeah.
kayak basically kerja itu ternyata susah banget di Indonesia.
Yeah.
Jadi
Yeah.
lapangan pekerjaan. And finally ini mungkin apa namanya ekonomi in general. Jadi kayak kenaikan harga, terus housing yang makin mahal, terus apa namanya barang apa namanya for millennials especially like owning a house, rent apa namanya basically like the sky the prices aja gitu kayak yang makin tinggi.
Ya, ya. Apalagi siapa yang di sini anak startup ya? Manusia kuat, anak startup. Siapa? Kita udah banyak dengar tidak hanya di Indonesia ya, tapi global, apalagi ditambah pandemi, banyak layoff gitu. Jadi kalau ada yang merasa, oh itu juga saya, mewakili tadi isu yang nomor 2. Tapi gini, sebagai masing-masing punya inisiatif gitu ya, aku akan tanya bagaimana cara dapur ngebulnya sih lebih tepatnya. Kalau Haifa newsletter company, I can call it media company, I think, ya kan? Pasti harus ada fact check dan sebagainya, ada analis juga. How do you keep your lights on without compromising your independency? Bagaimana memastikan semua baik-baik aja, semua bisa digaji layak, tapi juga tidak kompromi dengan stance redaksi gitu. Haifa gimana?
That's a very tough question. Well, just a background, we already run since 2019. So yeah, we kind of survived the pandemic. And
Congratulations, ayo dong, boleh dong tepuk tangan buat Catch Me Up, gila. Masih hidup sekarang, media ini lagi terseok-seok guys. Ya.
So yeah, definitely like I started Catch Me Up as a passion project, and like not necessarily to try to like the main goals has never been about making money, because like if the idea is making money, like I'm already comfortable enough with my job, but it's just really like I really love to write and I really love to make people get their information easily. So that should be the core idea of Catch Me Up. So never compromise anything about our values. I even have this like whole page of like what our values are.
What are
and
they?
So I would say like so we are independent, we're non-partisan, but in certain issues which are woman empowerment
Okay.
and environment and human rights, we are taking stance on that.
Okay.
Like we need to always be on their side, like on those for those 3 issues. And how do we make money? We actually get a lot of ads actually. So yeah, we have people have placement, and oh yeah, we create money from that. We also very flexible in how we operate our company. Basically, like all of our employees, I think now I have 15. We have 15 in Catch Me Up, 15 employees, and we are all very flexible and also very effective on how we manage the work. Basically, everything is just on WhatsApp. Like we are all can just communicate through that. Somehow it's just less operational cost for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been going pretty well for now.
So 15
why.
core team
Mhm.
throughout Indonesia, not only in Jakarta.
Yeah, no, in Jakarta it's only me and my co-founder actually.
What? 2 people in Jakarta and the
Yeah.
rest is
Yeah,
work
so,
remotely.
yeah, so I have one in Kalimantan, one in Surabaya.
That's amazing. That's how
everywhere.
you reduce costs, ladies and gents. Okay. Thank you. Abi, your turn. Wiwi and bijak memilih.
Okay. For Wiwi, actually it's very similar to Haifa. It started off as absolutely a passion project between me and Faye, my co-founder. Yeah, so we started mid 2020 in the midst of lockdown. So it's, you know, and honestly, when we started it, we kind of, me and Faye already did sort of like summarizing news in English for our international friends in our respective IG stories. And then we're like, you know, why don't we create like this account where we just dump all of our translation there? Because like it sayang banget cuman di IG story gitu
Yeah.
kan. And that's why until now, if you see What Is Up Indonesia, the design is still from IG story because
Yeah,
that's
I
how it
noticed.
started.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it just blew up, and we're like, oh my gosh, and so we're just catching up to it. And so Wiwi is absolutely still 100%, I would say, voluntary. So everyone
Wow.
that works in Wiwi also claim it as their passion project. It's still pretty much voluntary, but we are slowly trying to shift and become more sustainable and more stable in that sense. So right now we're still in the like profit sharing type of team actually with our team. That's basically Wiwi, and we do collaborate with a lot of institutions. Last time we collaborated with the British Council to disseminate their report, and we do a lot of collaboration with think tanks and stuff like that. Um, and we are very so the team, because they still consider Wiwi as their passion project, and our team are comprised of like very critical Gen Z. We are very committed actually to stay being independent and to keep the post as neutral as possible. And even right, we even ask our audience even to not trust us. So
Yeah.
like, you know, we can be unconsciously biased. So just fact check us. Here's all the sources where we get our info. And
Love it.
don't you and we told them to not use us as their primary news source. Like please go to Tempo, to
Yeah.
Kompas and other news source. So that's we. So it's just like basically a very it's a stepping stone, a primer for these international raised kids who doesn't even know what DPR is, basically. And then for bijak memilih, I think it's very fair for you to ask where the money come from, because it is a movement that claims to be independent, and it does talk about the election, and we have a lot of information about the candidates, political party, and actually Haifa is in bijak memilih too, by the way.
Whoa, didn't know that. Oh, nice.
Yeah, so in bijak memilih, actually, it's initiated by Wiwi and Think Policy. So Think Policy is a social enterprise. And so Think Policy is the secretariat for Bijak Memilih. And because Think Policy is a social enterprise, they do a lot of consulting and classes, boot camps, and they have revenue from that. And so Bijak Memilih, the money it comes from Think Policy's revenue. So it's kind of like their flagship program, but also their CSR to make Indonesia more policy centric.
Got it.
So that's where, and we're also a semi-finalist for MIT Solve. So
That,
if we,
congratulations. Boleh
Thank
dong jadi
you.
semifinalisnya MIT Solve.
yeah, and so if we win, we'll get another funding from them.
From the grant,
from the grant. Yeah. So bijak memilih, basically that's where the money is, and also who works on bijak memilih. Some from Wiwi, some from Think Policy, and some from like volunteers who signed up too.
Keren. Oke, sekarang saya nggak akan mendominasi percakapan. Teman-teman, ada yang mau tanya? Saya yang kasih kesempatan untuk yang ada di audience di sini dulu. Boleh angkat tangan? Yes. Please state your name and your question. Silakan kasih yang di depan. Boleh mikrofon ekstra ada? Oh ya, terima kasih. Sebutkan nama dan pertanyaannya dan ditujukan pada siapa?
Halo, selamat sore semuanya. Perkenalkan, nama saya Vera. Saya ingin bertanya ke Kak Abigail dan juga ke Kak. Pertanyaan saya adalah ketika kita memilih gitu, ketika pemilu, kita kan suka dihadapkan sama dua pilihan gitu. Kadang ada figur yang memang sudah terkenal atau kadang ada partai yang memang sudah terkenal. Dan di satu sisi ada pilihan atau figur yang tidak terlalu terkenal tapi dia membawa isu-isu yang kita juga ingin suarakan gitu. Nah, bagaimana kita menghadapi hal itu dan bagaimana impact-nya untuk masa depan
Indonesia sendiri.
Oke, jadi pilih yang mana? Is it more impactful if we choose the party or the person endorsed by the party that seems more popular, or that probably the underdog, yeah, within certain parties? Who would like to answer first? Siapa yang mau jawab duluan? Saya dua-duanya. Abi.
Oke. Good question ya. Aku suka banget pertanyaannya dan aku nggak mau jawab. Soalnya kalau jawab takutnya nanti endorse ini. Tapi aku mau kasih jawabannya jadi lebih ke sebenarnya terserah kamu gitu. Dan ini framework yang aku pakai untuk diri aku pribadi gitu ya. Jadi kan aku ngelihatnya kita siapa sih mau jadi presiden selanjutnya? Itu kan kayak kita mau hiring employee nih gitu, kayak kita mau hiring seseorang untuk ngelakuin sebuah pekerjaan. Artinya apa? Artinya kita harus pilih seseorang yang bisa ngelakuin kerjaannya. Artinya kita research dulu, kerjaan presiden tuh apa? Kerjaan DPR itu apa? Gitu ya. Oh, dia bisa nyatain perang. Oh, dia bikin undang-undang gitu. Oh, dia mimpin negara apa-apa. Nah, habis itu kita pikir, kira-kira track record dan karakteristik yang kayak apa ya, yang paling cocok untuk ngejalanin tugas-tugas itu. Yang red flag apa? Mungkin kalau misalnya yang red flag yang pernah ada history A, B, C, D gitu. Atau mungkin yang bagus karena dia lulusan degree-nya ini. Oh, cocok nih buat ini. Nah, jadi menurut aku kita balikin ke situ ya lagi sih. Kita voting dia untuk ngelakuin apa. Dan tentu ini nggak sempurna. Karena emang informasi yang bisa dicari limited ya. Terus abis itu juga aku sadar banget nggak naif bahwa ada intervensi. Nah, itu di take into account aja gitu. Oh, dia kenalan sini, oh dia circle sini. Yang mana nih kayaknya saya paling damai gitu. Nah, jadi pakai framework itu aja. Kerjaan yang bakal mereka harus lakuin untuk Indonesia apa, karakteristik red flag, green flagnya apa, nah siapa nih yang paling cocok gitu. Jadi gitu aja sih menurut aku.
Nice. Haifa, apalagi nih Haifa dekat dengan DPR, maksudnya gini. Kenapa aku tanya begini? Karena kan kebijakannya digodok di sana bersama dengan pemerintah gitu kan. Mungkin yang menarik adalah, gak apa-apa ya nambahin dikit untuk diskusi. Ketika mau bikin kebijakan, ada rancangan, dan orang yang terpilih akan ada geng-gengnya dong di DPR, ada faksi-faksinya dong. Nanti misalnya kita pilih yang underdog, dia menyuarakan persis seperti apa yang kita suarakan, tapi ternyata kalah dominasi gitu kan. Apakah jadi sepadan nggak kalau aku vote buat underdog ini ketika sebenarnya saya harusnya main dominasi aja gitu. Gimana menurut Haifa? Silakan.
Sebenarnya kalau buat aku sih tadi aku udah setuju sama Abi. Sebenarnya basically kayak kita tahu kerjaan presiden apa, kita tahu kerjaan DPR apa, so you just gotta do your research. Terus kayak oke, dengan background dia seperti ini, dia sejalan gak sih sama perasaan saya kayak gitu. Mungkin satu hal yang saya bisa tambahkan adalah sometimes people don't change in politics. Like if they already have one stance, they normally just go with it for the rest of their career biasanya. Jadi misalnya let's say ada satu kandidat yang emang they're running several times gitu misalnya. Bukan presiden, misalnya DPR deh. Kalau presiden kayak ketahuan. Jadi misalnya ada satu kandidat di DPR yang mereka udah berkali-kali jadi anggota DPR kayak gitu. Biasanya walaupun partainya pindah, biasanya values that they have itu biasanya nggak berubah. Jadi misalnya mereka konservatif, mereka bakal terus konservatif. Walaupun misalnya mereka pindah partai dari Golkar pindah ke Nasdem, dari Nasdem pindah ke PDIP, biasanya value-nya nggak berubah. Jadi how it translate into kamu milihnya gimana itu kayak misalnya you also need to know yourself. Kayak am I a liberal, am I a conservative, am I a progressive gitu kan. Nah setelah itu after you know yourself, after you know like after you identify yourself politically leaning kemana, and then you gotta find out kayak oke, misalnya DPR di dapil gue yang orang-orang yang konservatif seperti ini, orangnya ini. You also need to do your research. Itu nggak ada shortcutnya gitu. Jadi emang kita benar-benar harus lihat aja misalnya kayak kamu lagi di jalan terus kayak that's what I like to do gitu kan di dapil aku di Bogor. Jadi tiap aku lihat ada poster calon anggota DPR atau apa kayak I will Google them and I will find out their background kayak gitu. Terus ya udah dari situ biasanya kita bisa ngelihat oh kayaknya they have the same value as me or no. Terus kayak we go from there kayak gitu sih.
Menarik sekali. Jadi biasanya orang nggak berubah ya ternyata ya. Sama kayak pacaran ya. Janji-janji mau berubah tapi belum tentu gitu.
Dan kalau researchnya pusing nanti bisa kebijak memilih.
Masuk. I'm a fan by the way. Di situ ada kuisnya. Jadi kelihatan kita tipenya akan seperti apa sebenarnya. Oke, saya akan ke yang sudah login online. Ini ada yang namanya Jane. Untuk teman-teman yang mungkin baru aja masuk, silakan kita udah di Q&A session. Kita masih punya sekitar 12 menit lagi. Langsung dituliskan pertanyaannya. Untuk yang di audience siap-siap ya. Jane asks, as the younger generation of Indonesian, what is the easiest way to actively participate in politics? Haifa first. Itu. Sebagai generasi muda Indonesia, cara paling mudah untuk aktif berpartisipasi di politik, menurut kamu gimana?
There's a lot of ways you can participate and it's very exciting. Kenapa exciting? Karena nggak semua anak muda bisa berpartisipasi sebebas kayak di Indonesia. Like even ketika kita misalnya kita lihat negara tetangga aja, I would say in all of ASEAN gitu mungkin
Ya,
yang
Singapura enggak ya?
Iya,
Malaysia
yang
enggak?
democratically paling bebas tuh I would say us. Kita bisa ngapain aja, we can start our own media if we want to, we can going to the street if we want to, we can go to
Yeah.
our apa namanya anggota DPR if we want to, we can actually do anything. Jadi kayak there's no limit gitu kecuali kita melanggar hukum, which is juga yang ngapain gitu kan. Kayak polisi juga, kalau polisi mau agak represif dikit, kita bisa viralin terus kita tetap ya kan, kita tetap yang on the winning side gitu. So we can actually do a lot of things.
Oke.
So you just find what you comfortable with gitu. For me, I like to write. Like it's been my bread and butter. Jadi ya udah aku nulis Catch Me Up. That's my apa namanya activism in there gitu kan. I get people informed so people know. Oke, undang-undang ini nggak benar, undang-undang itu benar. Abi juga tadi dengan wiwinya kayak gitu. And people you can go to streets gitu. Kalau misalnya undang-undangnya salah, demo aja nggak apa-apa. Like you can do anything di social media doang juga ya nggak apa-apa. Kayak gitu.
Oke. Abi?
Easiest way, right? Be wise in how you like, retweet, comment, and share on social media. Jangan incentivize perilaku-perilaku dan value-value yang buruk, dan jangan disincentivize perilaku-perilaku dan value-value yang baik. Saya kadang yang kita share, komen, like, basically kita kasih engagement ya. Kalau kita kasih engagement artinya dia akan makin naik, makin kesebar. Itu hal-hal yang bikin kita marah. Hal-hal yang bikin kita kesel, artinya hal-hal buruk. Tapi giliran kita baca tulisan, wih keren nih, udah scroll. Nggak kita komen, nggak kita like, nggak kita share gitu. Jadi menurut aku sesimpel ketika lihat konten atau hal-hal yang bagus, keren, kalian justru kasih itu engagement. Begitu ngelihat konten hal-hal yang bodoh, yang aneh, yang nggak jelas, yang bikin keadaan makin kusut gitu ya, ya jangan kasih engagement. Karena kehidupan di social media tuh soal engagement, nggak peduli kalian komennya baik buruk gitu. Jadi paling simpel menurut aku itu.
Interesting. Let's not give traffic, traction.
Yeah, because for a lot of people maybe they think for some people yang create their name out of controversy, oh gue caci maki nih di Twitter, gue komenin gitu, ini mampus tuh gitu. Ya, untuk mereka seneng engagement naik, they will create more and more controversy because that's incentivization. You don't incentivize them.
Asik.
Report.
Ya, siapa yang menyangka ternyata ini adalah kuliah rohani juga untuk kita, untuk jangan marah-marah ya, terus habis retweet, malah yang seneng yang kurang bagus gitu. Ada lagi teman-teman di studionya Air America yang mau nanya? Yes, boleh 2 lagi kayaknya kita bisa, kalau bisa 3 lagi, silakan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Kebetulan nama saya JNV, ya saya dulu pernah ngedirin partai politik lah.
Wow.
Sekarang masih ada Partai Amanat Nasional.
Oke.
Nah, memang kendala kita ya, ini DPT-nya masih 20%.
Oke.
Jadi demokrasi ini nggak aktif gitu loh. Kalau di US kan nggak ada DPT. Siapapun orang bisa jadi presiden asal dia memenuhi kualifikasi tertentu lah. Nah menurut teman-teman nih, Mbak Abi ini mengenai DPT ini seperti apa gitu loh. Nah yang kedua, saya juga kaget nih hari ini DPR menyetujui pilkades sampai satu dasawarsa 9 tahun gitu lah. Dan ini jelas apa ya, absolute power, dan ya terus terang jadi diktator gitu loh. Dan ya memang akhirnya absolute korup gitu loh. Nah, itu menurut teman-teman seperti apa? Thank you.
Minta komentarnya. Oke, dengan Mas siapa sekali lagi?
Genvi.
Genvi. Oke. Kalau ada teman-teman yang mungkin kurang familiar, tadi disebutkan DPT ya, Mas ya. Daftar pemilih tetap itu maksudnya ya. Sorry, maksudnya apa? Kirain itu maksudnya karena butuh daftar pemilih tetap.
Minimum suara.
Minimum suara.
Ya, jadi
Oke.
kan kayak sekarang ini Pilpres
ya,
harus 20%. Nah,
presidential threshold. Oke.
threshold.
Ya, sorry, maaf. Untung di recheck. Boleh, silakan siapa yang mau duluan? Ada
Ini
2 part ya.
Haifa deh.
Haifa ya. Jadi ada nggak the downside of presidential threshold? Your commentary on that. Itu pertama. Kedua, adanya tadi kades ya posisinya. Satu dasawarsa untuk satu pemerintahan.
Oke, kalau soal presidential threshold, kayak short answer-nya ya ada downside-nya. Karena jadi nggak semua orang bisa nyapres ya. Padahal kan sebenarnya selama dia memenuhi syarat, which is syaratnya juga sangat rendah gitu, cuma lulusan SMA dan lain-lain, harusnya bisa gitu. Tapi karena adanya presidential threshold tadi, jadinya terbatas cuman capres-capres yang didukung oleh 20% suara di DPR atau 25% secara nasional, kan kayak gitu aturannya. Well, there's downside, tapi juga ada bagusnya juga. Bagusnya adalah ya jadi ada batasnya gitu. Because we cannot deny the fact that not all of our voters itu emang educated soal politik ini. Ketika begitu banyaknya calon gitu, misalnya nggak ada PT, calonnya banyak, itu bakal sangat chaos, I think. I would say kayak kenapa di US it works, karena partai mereka cuma 2.
Ya,
di
kita
Indonesia,
partainya yang banyak.
Iya, kita
jadi
punya
bagi-bagi
10
kuenya
partai.
makin kecil-kecil gitu ya. Nggak signifikan gitu
Iya.
kan untuk mendapatkan suara. I
Iya.
see. Oke.
Probably that. Also soal pilkades. Jadi itu juga something yang di DPR sendiri sebenarnya semua fraksi juga masing-masing punya stance-nya yang berbeda dan juga lumayan kenceng-kencengan soal itu. Of course kayak mereka bisa 9 kalau nggak salah, 9 tahun itu emang bisa dibilang agak problematik. But again, ketika kita ngelihat situasinya sekarang dengan kondisi di DPR yang juga komposisinya sangat leaningnya kemana gitu kan, kelihatan it's something predictable sih sebenarnya. Kayak ya udah pasti kejadian gak sih ketika semuanya hampir nggak ada oposisi dan lain-lain, kayak ya udah kita berusaha melanggengkan kekuasaan.
I see. Oke. Abi, anything you'd like to add? Ada yang mau ditambahin soal tadi komentari?
Setuju aja sama Haifa.
Oke, terima kasih, mudah-mudahan happy dengan jawaban dan waktu yang sangat singkat ini. Tadi aku lihat ada mbaknya di belakang, boleh mikrofonnya menuju ke satu penanya. Ya.
Selamat sore semuanya, perkenalkan saya Citra. Pertanyaan saya, kita sebagai anak muda kan sangat harus berani untuk berpendapat kan tentang kebenaran gitu. Nah, kita tahu sebelumnya ada anak muda yang berpendapat dan itu kayak diancam gitu loh secara diancam oleh pihak-pihak kayak kepolisian atau apa gitu. Nah, gimana sih kita anak muda ini untuk berani speak up gitu, berpendapat agar kita tuh nggak takut dengan itu, karena saya lihat juga ya anak muda itu banyak takut untuk speak up karena takut dicemplungin gitu lah ke penjara gitu atau dilaporkan gitu. Bagaimana sih kalau dari kakak untuk saya terutama ya bisa berani untuk berpendapat gitu dan mengungkapkan kebenaran gitu.
Takut direpresi, apalagi kalau TikTok yang Lampung ya waktu itu
bener,
ya contohnya
gitu.
ya, langsung kebaca. Oke, silakan itu aja satu ya. Teman-teman kita masih punya, semoga jawabannya masih tepat waktu, saya akan kasih satu pertanyaan lagi kalau bisa. Silakan dijawab dulu. Ya. Mau Abi dulu nggak gantian?
Ya udah gantian. Ya, pertanyaannya bagus banget. Aku juga bikin konten juga selalu pasti concernnya itu. Dari pengalaman dan dari konsultasi sama teman-teman aktivis dan ada teman aku yang lawyer juga gitu ya. Sebenarnya yang kayak Haifa bilang bahwa Indonesia tuh sebenarnya lumayan kebebasannya lumayan oke gitu. Itu aku setuju banget sebenarnya. Nah, tapi on the other hand, kita nggak bisa pungkiri bahwa beberapa pasal itu emang ada elemen karetnya yang kalau ditarik-tarik tuh ya kadang ya dimasuk-masukin bisa gitu. Nah itu jadi ada tension itunya kan yang sebenarnya kita bebas tapi ada fear yang nggak jelasnya di sini gitu. Nah, menurut aku hal terbaik yang aku lakuin itu pertama baca pasal-pasalnya. Jadi kita kalau speak up itu takut kena pasal yang mana aja sih, kita tahu dia ngomongnya A, B, C, D. Dan di situ kan kita bisa tahu, oh yang digabolehin di negara ini. Kita semua kalau mau speak up takut, oh UU ITE, tapi berapa banyak dari kita yang baca UU ITE-nya itu isinya apa? Ya, kalau kalau kita nggak baca kan ya udah bingung ambigu gitu. Jadi mungkin pertama bisa kita baca. Terus yang kedua dari pembacaan itu kan yang nggak boleh itu kan hal-hal yang kayak defamation, abis itu merendahkan martabat atau misalnya misinformasi. Nah, itu ada hal-hal yang bisa kita lakukan dalam speak up untuk menghindari hal itu. Karena menurut aku tuh soal speak up itu bukan soal siapa yang paling keras, tapi siapa yang paling efektif. Dan being efektif itu nggak harus paling keras gitu. Kita harus pinter juga supaya speak up kita bisa lama. Saya menurut aku speak up yang paling efektif itu yang konsisten dalam jangka panjang, bukan yang sekali jeder meledak habis itu turut gitu. Nah, itu makanya kalau misalnya dari aku dan Wiwi itu pertama, tiap kali kita bikin klaim, kita selalu kasih tahu source-nya dari mana. Jadi misalnya bilang, Jakarta kota paling macet sedunia misalnya gitu. Aku kasih tahu menurut riset A, B, C, D, E, Jakarta tuh paling macet sedunia. Pesannya tetap sampai tapi kita aman. Jadi kita cite gitu ya. Atau misalnya, oh anggota yang ngesahin RUU KPK itu tuh tidak serius tentang korupsi. Wah, ya itu kan kayak statementnya keras. Jangan ngomong gitu, bilang menurut ahli hukum A, B, C, D, anggota yang itu. Nah, jadi kita quote aja gitu. Yang orang yang udah expert, sources yang udah reliable itu yang pertama. Habis itu yang kedua ya tentunya jangan pakai kata yang ngata-ngatain gitu ya. Ya tau lah kayak gitu itu udah jelas lah ya kalau misalnya ngata-ngatain atau apa rawan itu pasti gitu. Jadi ada ya hal-hal yang seperti itu sih yang bisa kita lakuin dan yakin banget kalau kita speak up masih dalam koridor yang kayak gitu itu aman biasanya gitu. Mungkin tentunya kalau misalnya diskusi yang informal kayak buzzer atau apa nah itu masih abu-abu tuh ya. Tapi at least hukum aman di situ. Jadi pelajarin hukumnya dibaca, hindari yang nggak boleh, be smart, tapi be effective gitu sih.
Be efektif baca pasal karetnya. Oke, Haifa?
Mungkin sebenarnya aku setuju sama Abi semua tadi soal baca aturannya. Mungkin aku nambahin aja setelah tadi prosesnya dari Abi kayak oke aturannya kayaknya kan tadi kan maksudnya biar kita jadi berani gitu ya ketika kita mau speak up. Oke, kita udah tahu nih pemikiran kita apa yang ganggu kita apa, terus kita mau menyatakan kritikan terhadap itu, kita udah ternyata sesuai koridor, kita udah baca undang-undangnya aman nih, nggak ada ngata-ngatain orang, nggak ada bahasa kasar, nggak ada fitnah dan lain-lain. Kalau misalnya ternyata itu masih jadi masalah, make it viral. Very easy. Bikin viral aja, gue direpresi nih sama ini postingan gue tiba-tiba hilang, akun gue dihack, WhatsApp gue dihack. Basically that's the cases that kita di DPR Komisi 3 tiap hari tuh hadapi. Selalu ada laporan kayak gitu dan ya udah gitu. Kalau misalnya udah viral ya biasanya law enforcement-nya biasanya mundur gitu. Mereka yang di-track karena mereka takut viral dan bermasalah. Jadi kalau emang kalian yakin udah ngikutin aturan, ngikutin hukum sesuai koridor tapi masih bermasalah, bikin viral aja.
Berarti intinya dapetin followers yang banyak di Twitter ya.
Nanti harus bikin crash course untuk bikin engagement
Biar
dan
gampang
gimana
viral.
caranya biar viral ya. Apakah artinya ini keadilan sosial untuk yang viral? Saya nggak mau jawab, saya nanya di sini ya. Jangan dijawab. Oke, dengan berat hati waktunya sudah habis. Tadi terima kasih pertanyaannya atas gimana caranya kita biar speak up. Kalau saya boleh nambahin satu data terkini dari Harvard, a recent Harvard research found out that change actually happened in countries where at least 3.5% of the population speak up. Jadi kalau kita kadang merasa kecil ya, emang apa efeknya kalau saya berbuat sesuatu atau lebih vokal menyuarakan sesuatu, percayalah dari yang kecil-kecil jadi 3,5%, itulah saat dimana perubahan terjadi. Boleh dong tepuk tangannya buat dua speaker kita. Terima kasih Haifa, Abi.
Thank you.
Ada yang lagi yang mau ditambahin sebelum kita dadah? Sudah cukup. Dinantikan mudah-mudahan At America akan ngundang lagi Haifa sama Abi. Sukses dengan bijak memilih. Can't wait for the next phase. Sukses sama Wiwinya. Sukses sama Catch Me Up. Waktunya saya Pudendita pamit. Sampai ketemu di event At America berikutnya. Hand over to Hasna. Thank you so much. Bye.
All right, another round of applause for our three wonderful ladies over here. Thank you very much, Kak Puri, Kak Haifa, and Kak Abigail for today's very insightful session. So earlier in this event, we asked the audience a question, if you remember, and the question was, which of the following is not a key role of media in promoting good governance? And the correct answer to that is D, face-to-face participation. Shout out to today's lucky one at Fari EDN from Instagram for answering correctly. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on our social media quiz. Don't forget to tune in next time and catch a chance to get a live shout out from us. You can also develop more brilliant ideas with a platform like this by simply visiting our website at www.atmerica.org.id. You can submit your event ideas and we will make it for you. Also, if you find today's event insightful, you can also subscribe to be our member at our website and also follow us on our social media platforms. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at AT America, and also subscribe us on our YouTube channel, AT America. With that, it is time to say farewell. Thank you so much again, everyone, for joining us today. My name is Hasna. See you on the next At America event. Bye-bye, everybody.